So I really want to talk about the grade level reading and how a lot of our schools, especially our Title I schools, the 10 Title I schools are reading below grade level. Also special needs. Your thoughts on special needs and how we can train our teachers to be better prepared in the classroom. We'll start with you, Mr. Murphy.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. That's a very close place in my heart. Having worked in ESE classrooms with Down syndrome and EBDs, elementary, middle, high school, I can appreciate that question very much. I think, first of all, I'll address the reading part. The reading part, you're talking about 49, 51% roughly below grade level. I think the big key is making sure our schools are supported with the staff and the programs they need. Professional development is a big thing. Extended reading at home during the summer, working with community partnerships where it's faith-based, volunteers, so on, is making sure parents and also grandparents are working with kids and volunteer their time to help kids learn. I know the biggest thing I did for my daughters was read to them in bed. That was the best thing I ever did while I fell asleep. But it paid off. And my grandkids the same way. I've always bought them books, took them to bookstores and so on. I've worked with the Barbara Bush Foundation Celebration of Reading, which does a lot of programs for schools, Title I, high poverty students, and also for the adults. Our kids are in those schools by teaching adult literacy. So I think we need to make sure we focus on the children, also helping the adults by giving them the resources they need. A parent university is what I talked about earlier. That's the tools, resources for parents. ESE, there's all the issues that we have to address there, I think. Interactive technology, assistive technology to help kids with laptops and different devices to help them learn. I've been through that process. Making sure our teachers are trained, giving them time to be trained, giving them days. The new COVID-19 is going to affect professional development. It shouldn't. The school calendar is very important in that issue because we got to allocate the time for our teachers to get their training and what they need, and also supply the resources for those teachers and those students. So those two issues are very important, and the funding goes with it has to be expended exactly the way it's granted to you by the federal government. So you got to make sure you spend it the right way, and there's ways of doing it correctly and transparently, and I'm going to make sure that happens. Thank you.
Ms. Foreman?
Thank you. We are spending more than $850 million a year, and our kids still cannot read. A good part of that is that the resources aren't being used where they needed. If a child reaches third grade and can't read at grade level yet, they're playing catch up. And we've got to get them early, and there may be programs that need to be in place in kindergarten, first grade, second grade. As far as the ESE students go, I have a niece who's an ESE, and I'm very familiar with the agony of the families. And for the school district to have a committee or a group of people sit and talk about promotion, whether a child is ready for promotion or not, and not include the parent or not communicate fully with the parent is just not acceptable. No one knows their child better than the parent. And we need to get that changed, get that mindset changed. I am a budget person. I want to make sure that the money goes to the students, and that is my strength. And it's something that we do not have on the school board right now, that someone who can look at the budget, look at the spending, look at the financial statements and understand them, and be able to communicate that in discussions with other board members. And I think then we will start to see some changes in Manatee County School District.
Mr. Boyce, thank you, Ms. Foreman.
Thank you very much. You know, this is a huge topic. 53% of our students across the board are reading at or above grade level. That basically means that 47, now let's call it 50% of our students aren't. Our Title I schools, they're mostly affected. They're way lower than that. And I have to draw back on my time at Samoset Elementary School. Spent 8 years there. And it was different ideas that we did there to get our school to become an A. And some of those ideas, you know, we talked about them going to college, and we actually took them on tours at the local college so that they understood that this is your next level, this is your next step. Not all students are going to go to college, but you've got to start now with your reading and get started on that. Another thing that we did also was we created half grades. So if a student in first grade at the end of the year was still not quite ready for second grade, we promoted them to second grade because we had to. But what we did was we created a 1.5 grade so that those students could get extra reading help the previous or the next year. They still got all of the standards that they needed for second grade, but it was rushed a little bit faster, given direct instruction on reading and getting extra personnel in to help them. And we did very well with those students. They would move up into then third grade the year after that, and we would again pull students back that were still struggling in reading. Programs. Every school is different. We have to hold our principals accountable for that. And so we've got to make sure that they are on course with this, having proper people in the curriculum area to assist and to help those administrators as well, coming out to the schools, doing professional development and making sure that we are teaching reading as best as we can. Again, Samoset Elementary School, we got that population over 75% reading during that time that I was there when we became the A school. And so it's that kind of experience and innovative ideas that at each school, we're going to have to come up with those ideas and thoughts. And that's why I need your vote. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Ms. Dawson.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Reading is quite a hot topic. And while I agree with one of the candidates that a board member needs to have expertise in allocating the funds towards the task of teaching our children how to read and helping them to do this. And I also listen to another opponent and say that, yes, we have to hold our principals accountable so that we know the needs in each school. However, the school board is accountable. They're governing the superintendent, but the school board is charged with making sure that adequate instructional materials are there for every student. I think that's where our board fails. We adopt a one-size-fits-all. We adopt one reading system that is supposed to work for all children at the elementary level to learn how to read and read to learn. This is anyone, an educator that knows the science of reading, understands that that is literally impossible. Yet every 3 to 5 years, we adopt systems from one publisher that are supposed to meet the needs of all the students. I don't agree. I don't think the task of a school board member is to provide adequate instructional materials for students. The task of the school board members in Manatee County is to provide superior instructional materials for students. Materials that will meet the need of every student, that will give the teacher the authority in the classroom to match material with learning needs. For any student to get to third grade and not be reading, quote, on grade level, it's an insult to our system. It's an insult to our teachers. The FSA, which promotes real estate, quite frankly, more than the progress of students. Every time a teacher has a student connecting with the task of reading, assessment needs to happen at that moment. I heard a school board, an incumbent school board member say that we didn't have FFA here, so we didn't have the reading data to determine promotion. That's an insult. Teachers have data every day. We need to give them the authority to assess the student. We need to give them the authority to use any material that they find fit that will help our students learn to read on grade level and way beyond. Thank you.